Hello everyone and welcome to Crystalcast. This is the Friday Q&A section of Crystalcast. So, I have a bunch of your questions that I'm going to answer. Let's get started. Marketus asks, my question, what do you think about the new seiyuu or voice actors? Could you compare them with the original 90s cast? Here is the thing about the voice actors. I've gotten this question from a lot of people. This is not the only person who has asked this for me to compare them. And now that we've had a couple episodes where we've had all the characters, we've got to hear them in different roles, it's easier to compare them. But here's the thing. For me, the 90s anime is my favorite version of Sailor Moon. So to me, those are the characters. Those are their voices. So, of course, in my opinion, the 90s anime is better. But both are fantastic. The thing about the 90s anime, though, maybe it's just because I've heard them so much over the years, but I think that each character's voice is very unique, especially the Outer Senshi. The Outer Senshi all have very unique voices in the 90s anime. Whereas, so far, in Crystal, I feel like the voices, while very good, and most of them fit the characters very, very well, are a little more generic. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what I feel like. At least, I feel like it's generic with, like, other anime of this time. Maybe because some of them are voice actors from other anime. But that's the only way I know how to describe it, is that they're not as unique as the 90s anime, but again, that could be just because I've heard the 90s anime voices over and over and over and over and over for thousands of hours. So I'm obviously biased on that, but they're both fantastic. Luna in Crystal is fantastic. Of course, Kotono Mitsuishi is the same. She is Sailor Moon in both versions, and she is fantastic in both versions. She has not lost her touch at all. In fact, there were the moment in Crystal where Tuxedo Kamen dies, and she is just like screaming and crying at the beginning of that one episode. I don't remember the act number, but like, I think that's one of her greatest moments as Sailor Moon in the entire franchise, is that moment in Crystal, because the way she screams in that moment, I mean, Sailor Moon puts her hands up and she just screams. It's intense, very intense, and I gotta give her props for that, because wow, that's almost hard for me to watch because it's so intense, her screaming there. Wow. So, short answer, too long didn't listen. 90s anime I think is better, but I'm probably biased. Alright, so Cute Wallflower Girl asks, if they did do an extra Sailor Moon season for Sailor Moon Crystal, would you like to see the season be about the Sailor Moon cast in Crystal Tokyo, or it continue where the manga 90s anime left off? So basically present or future. I have always wanted to see more details about the day-to-day lives of Crystal Tokyo, so if I had to choose, I would choose Crystal Tokyo because it would be different than anything else that we've seen before, and I think it would be, I don't know how well it would work. Like, in reality, there would have to be, we don't know a lot about Crystal Tokyo, and there would have to be a lot of new story to kind of come up with something to talk about. There'd have to be an enemy or something, and it would be different in the fact that they're royalty now. You have all the princesses and I guess queens at that point. You have Neo Queen Serenity, so you would have to, if it's about them, then it would possibly be about like political stuff, which is interesting, but in reality it would probably focus on Small Lady Serenity, on Chibiusa. So yeah, but I would still want that. Either way, I would love it. I would love to see just more day-to-day lives of the girls after Galaxia is defeated, but I would have to vote for Crystal Tokyo. Daryl Green asks, what's your overall view of the Starlights in the 90s anime? Good characters, or way too much of them, or not enough of Usagi's guardians, of the girls? Sailor Stars is very different in that aspect, where you have these 3 new characters that the season is very focused on, and especially in the anime, you have a lot of the day-to-day goofy stuff that goes on with the monster of the day, and then you have your goofy story for the day of, Seiya making Usagi join a baseball team, or whatever it may be. One of my favorite episodes is in Stars of the joint concert between Michiru and the Three Lights. That's one of my favorite episodes. I've watched it a million times, and you wouldn't have that without the Starlights. And you have the tension between Seiya and Haruka, and it's just the Starlights aren't my favorite characters in the series, but I do like a lot of the episodes that came about because of them. And I think they are cool characters. It's cool that they, are characters that came from another galaxy and they came here, and they're Sailor Senshi and all of the turmoil, the big turmoil of the Sailor Wars, and the fact that you have Senshi against Senshi in Sailor Stars, and it just makes a very cool dynamic. So I really, really do like the Starlights, even though they're not, themselves aren't my favorite characters, and there was a lot of them in Stars, but that makes sense because that's kind of the season was about them. And it was a good change because we had 4 seasons before that which were all about the girls, and then to have the final season be more focused on them was cool. So I like it. I love Stars. Stars is my second favorite season, so I like them. Gamer Girls 140. What do you think is one of the funniest moments in the 90s anime? One of my personal favorite funny moments is in the Viz dub of episode 7, where Umino imitates Molly, that is Deek Naru, Brooklyn accent and all, while cross-dressing. I haven't actually watched that yet, because I haven't sat down and watched all the Viz dub episodes. I am going to do more Viz dub episode watching the major episodes, and I didn't realize that was episode 7. I actually skipped that. I'm going to have to watch that because everybody has said that is hilarious. But one of my funniest moments in the 90s anime, there's so many, but the one that always sticks out in my mind is an episode of Super Sailor Moon S, where Minako's heart crystal gets stolen. I think it's actually episode 109. Her whole dilemma in that episode was everybody has been targeted for their heart crystal, their pure heart crystal, except me. Am I not pure? What's going on? Am I not worthy? And she's worrying about this. And then she actually is targeted, but she drank so many energy drinks, so then her heart crystal actually is stolen, but she's still then she's still conscious because she's hyped up on these drinks and vitamins. So she actually grabs her own crystal. She's her eyes glaze over. She grabs her own crystal, starts giggling like a maniac, and just starts running around the city with her heart crystal. That makes me laugh every single time because I love Minako. I love when Minako is crazy and goofy, and that's one of the craziest, goofiest Minako moments in the whole series. So that to me is hilarious. I love it. That's definitely one of my favorites. Farbad Motebadi, I apologize. Farbad asks, what do you think about the Witches 5? They are so cool. This is appropriate because the Witches 5 are the villains from S. I like the Witches 5, except for Mimeto. I hate Mimeto. I hate her. She's too squeaky, too crazy. And it's really funny because I just said that Minako, I liked her for her craziness. And Mimet is very, very like Minako. Yet I don't like her. I think she's too squeaky. Her voice is too high. I don't know. I like the rest of them though. UDL is probably my favorite simply because episode 110 is my favorite, and she's the one that orchestrated that entire thing in the cathedral and taking their heart crystals. That whole scene was all orchestrated by UDL, so she's probably my favorite just for that reason. But I love the Deathbusters. The Deathbusters are very cool. And the Witches 5 are cool. Some of them are serious, some of them are silly. I love that when one of them dies, they put Witches 4 and then Witches 3. They put tape over the door when one of them dies. It's hilarious. So I like the Witches 5. They're very funny. Katie Cat 14. I've had this question for a while. Which Senshi transformation is your favorite? Did I answer this? I don't know. Maybe I did. But Venus in Sailor Moon Crystal, Sailor Moon Venus is my favorite. I love how they changed her transformation the most. And there's ribbons and sparkles, and it's beautiful, and I love it. Venus is definitely my favorite. Pure Blood. Question: what are your thoughts on having an all-female cast for the new SeraMyu, La Reconquista and Petite Estrangere? I love it because it makes the male characters look like they really popped out of a manga. That's very true. I mean, Yuga as Tuxedo Kamen is like so perfect, and I mean, she was perfectly cast. I like they've been SeraMyu has been doing females playing the male characters for a long time. I mean, you cannot beat Ono Hikari as Demando. You cannot beat that. She was the most perfect Demando ever, and so having females in the male role is nothing new. Having a female in the role of Tuxedo Kamen is new. But I like it. I mean, all of the males in Sailor Moon, they're pretty girly, a lot of them. I mean, the manga is very girly. In the manga, they're drawn very girly. You are absolutely right that it's like they popped right out of the manga page. And all of the actors that they have cast have been fantastic. So I really love it. I approve. Okay, the last question I have for today, which is good because we are nearing 15 minutes. UFO. Can it be, since both arcs... Okay, this is talking about Sailor Moon Crystal. Since both arcs are about the Silver Crystal, these arcs are called Sailor Moon Crystal, meaning the Dark Kingdom arc and the Black Moon arc. They're called Sailor Moon Crystal. Next up, could we get Sailor Moon Pure Heart, or in the manga it was called Sailor Moon Infinity, the Dream arc, and then Sailor Moon Stars. Other people have suggested this, and I think it's brilliant. I think it's a wonderful idea. In the manga, the first two arcs didn't really have names like Infinity, Dream, and Stars were specifically named. The first two didn't really have a title like that. It was just kind of like the Dark Kingdom arc and the Black Moon arc, or the first arc and the second arc, and then in the anime it was just Sailor Moon and Sailor Moon R. I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that it's very possible that if we get the entire series, it's not going to be called Sailor Moon Crystal S or Sailor Moon Crystal Super S, Sailor Moon Crystal Stars. It's weird. It's a lot of words. I think it could be Sailor Moon Crystal is the Dark Kingdom arc and the Black Moon arc, and then we're going to get Sailor Moon Infinity, which is the Infinity arc S, and then we'll get Sailor Moon Dream and Sailor Moon Stars. I think that's very, very possible that we will get it like that. And I think that's a brilliant idea. There's a lot of anime nowadays that name different seasons. They actually change the title of the show for different seasons, or they'll amend it. That's very popular nowadays. So I think it's extremely possible if we get the whole series, which I think we are. I hope. I need more Outer Senshi. I think it's very, very possible that it's going to be named differently, that if they go on to S, it's no longer going to be called Sailor Moon Crystal, it's going to be called Sailor Moon Infinity, and that Crystal, it was called Crystal because the first two arcs are about the crystals. It's brilliant, and I love it. Totally approve. Want it. Okay, that is all the questions I have for today. Please keep submitting your questions. Thank you to everyone who has submitted questions. I do still have backlogged questions that I have to get to. There's even been questions about merchandise and stuff that I own, or what are my favorite pieces of my collection. I've just been too lazy to go and dig them out before recording. So I promise I will get to those. I have a lot of questions saved. But please submit your questions. If you haven't heard yours, submit it again. I will choose my favorites and answer them on next week's Friday Q&A Crystalcast. I really like this. Let me know if you guys are continuing to enjoy these shorter, more frequent Crystalcasts. I'm really enjoying it, and I like it a lot. So let me know if you guys like it. And I will see you next week for the Sailor Moon Crystal news and merchandise. Hopefully we get more merchandise announcements. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.